people, yeah? More socialising going on, children come home, things, people going out to dinner, and then also people kind of, I think the novelty's wearing off as well a bit, isn't it? Yes? Yeah. Okay, so let's brainstorm, because this is where it can all go back on again, yeah? And once again, if you've done this before, you will have failed. Now this is not going to happen, I'm not going to let it happen, okay? I'm on the case. But we are at a crucial pivot moment, aren't we? So how are we going to get round it? So we're going to start, first of all, I'm going to tackle social events, okay? Eating out, or having people stay, or eating at somebody else's house. Yeah? Now what I was saying to Lindsay said an interesting thing that, well, it's the puddings, yes? Is everyone finding that? Like you went out to dinner at the weekend, you had people to stay, didn't you?
And a wedding, but
and a wedding.
Yeah, but I avoided the pudding because you had to go outside in the freezing cold for an ice cream van.
Excellent.
That's quite enough.
Yeah. Excellent. That's fantastic. Did anyone else have social events? No,
Yeah, I
but
did.
you did, and you did, didn't you? Yes. And Alex, did you?
No, I was working the weekends. So.
Right, okay. Okay, so what I'm going to say to you is if you do have a social event, you need to be aware of the pitfalls, basically. Don't go into it with your eyes closed, because if you do, you will just eat whatever's on the table. So you need to visualize the whole thing. Visualization is an incredibly powerful tool. Athletes use it all the time. Tennis players, they visualize the shot before they hit the ball. I remember snooker players do it too. They visualize the shot before they make it, and then they do the brilliant shot. So what you've got to do is visualize your social event and imagine what the pitfalls are going to be. So if you're going out, you know the pudding's going to come, so what are you going to do? And you need a strategy in place before it actually happens. So I was saying to Lindsay, ask for a piece of fruit. Say you're allergic to cream, or you're allergic to chocolate, or you're allergic, whatever the ingredient is in the pudding, you're allergic to it, okay? And ask for a piece of fruit, or a couple of herbal tea, or some decaffeinated coffee. And as long as the hostess is giving you something, or host, they will be okay about it. It's if you're sitting there empty, they will start getting guilt thoughts about it, or they'll start feeling anxious because they're not being the perfect host. So that's really the best way to do it. Motivation. So is the kind of novelty wearing off a bit? Yeah, okay. Are you getting into ruts?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably why you're plateauing, because you're probably eating the same breakfasts every time. Maybe two different breakfasts, but they're the same two breakfasts. And maybe you've got into a rut with lunch, and maybe the carbs are beginning to creep back in a little bit in the evening. Does that all sound familiar? Right, so we need to shake it up, okay? So I would absolutely recommend you go back to my recommendations. You remember I gave you a list of breakfasts? There's 6 of them on there. There's certainly 4 different lunches. I gave you 5 more lunches last week. Do you remember the lovely lunches, the one with the no carbs in? Admittedly, you do have to prepare them at home, but they're really quick to do and very tasty. Did anyone try them?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Tomato and goat cheese one.
Nice?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Did you try
I
it?
tried the courgette and walnut and cheese.
And cheese?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it?
Sort of, yes.
What's the...
I think it was difficult to get it, the courgettes are steamed, and they took a bit, and then it just seemed as though it was a bit, the melting of the cheese and the courgette not quite being cooked, and I think maybe that's just because I'm a crummy cook.
No,
So,
I'm sure it's not.
But
It's
I'll try
probably
again.
just
It was a
to
nice
do it
combination,
again
yeah.
and adjust
I think I
it.
like those light lunches. I think they're
Yes.
really nice or small coffee lunches.
And they don't take a long time to make,
they're
really.
nice combinations.
Maybe a bit more than a sandwich, but not that long.
No.
Did anyone else try any of them? Yeah.
I tried them tomato.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy
Yes,
it?
I did, yeah.
Good.
I suppose the thing for me is I'm not often at home at lunchtime.
Exactly.
So that's my difficulty, things like roasting tomatoes.
Yes. you
When
can't-
I'm probably
can't do
grabbing
that.
10 minutes
Yeah.
between meetings. It's always
Well, I've
tricky.
set myself a task, because I've been on this course, I've only just got back, but I've set myself the task, I'm going to go to the supermarket and I'm going to try and see if I can find some more things to include in a picnic lunch. You remember what I call a picnic lunch, where you gather a few things and stick them together, and like your cherry tomatoes and your oat cakes and your tub of hummus and your little bit of cheese. I'm going to go and see if I can find some more interesting things for you as well, rather than snack bars and packets of crisps and bars of chocolate and that sort of thing. Because really that and salad are your only real two options for packed lunches, aren't they, if you can't do sandwiches. Yeah.
Or soup.
Oh, soup.
Yeah,
You make a
are we
batch of
still in
soup.
soup season?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah.
actually, probably we are still,
Soup
aren't
is
we?
really easy to do.
Oh, good. Well, if you've
got a
still
microwave
got the
that works,
soup,
so I can just whack it in the microwave, like a bit of feta, and I stick a bit of feta in it.
yeah, exactly. How about changing your soup recipe?
Well,
Are you
I've been
doing
doing
a
it. I
lot
did
of
the
that?
pumpkin one, but the pumpkin was so big I had to do 2 batches of it.
Yeah.
So I'll
you
go on
frozen?
to do something different. Well, no, I made a batch and it was enough for me for 3 or 4
Yeah.
days of working, and then
Yeah.
my daughter had the rest of it.
Sounds good.
But no, it was delicious, and I kept it quite kind of chunky as well,
Mm-hmm.
and because it wasn't terribly smooth, much of my blenders on the blink, so it was quite chunky. So it was
Nice.
actually, yeah.
Feels a bit more filling. It feels
Yeah,
like
it
you're actually
does.
eating
It
something
does.
then, doesn't it?
I made
Yes.
that, I did your lemon and garlic, no, lemon and, it's lemon and garlic roast chicken, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
done
that
that
one.
2 weeks running, it's really nice, and then I made the chicken soup
Yeah.
the other night, a big batch, no, last night in fact,
We
it's
haven't
really,
seen
steam fried.
Oh, you
Oh,
tried
yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. I had one last
Really
night
nice.
and I made
It's
I
good,
made
isn't
a
it?
batch and had it for
Yeah,
lunch
I
today.
think
It's
you
really
get
good.
more taste going into the
Yeah.
food. Did anyone sprout?
No, I bought them
Container. Yay, that's
in its
good.
box, but I grabbed it.
That's
sitting on the side.
that's progress. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
You're
I
not
bought
along
is
with
it
it.
miso.
Miso. Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I haven't opened. I've smelt it. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
to do
bought
with
that
it.
as well. I haven't had it yet.
Okay,
I have smelt it.
so
It smells
your
good.
task for this week
Yes,
then
it is.
is to use your sprouting
Yeah.
jar and to use your miso. That's homework, all right?
Right,
I want you
okay.
to try those 2 things. For the rest of you, get yourself a jar and sprout. Try it out and use it in a steam fry. That's your homework, okay? Because again, steam fries are the sort of things you could have it every day and put different ingredients in, and that way you keep your body interested. Okay. We went off on a tangent there. What were we talking about before? Soups. Soups, that's right. So change your soups round, try out different recipes.
That pumpkin soup recipe, you
Mhm.
would basically do the same method and just change the vegetables, wouldn't you?
Yes, you can.
Near enough.
Yes, as
Didn't
long
you?
as you make certain there's some protein in. So the feta cheese idea,
And chicken I put in.
chicken, or the tofu. Do you remember you telling me about the tofu?
Yeah,
Just
silk
this-
and tofu.
That's it. And mixing it in, and that will give you some protein.
Mm.
Yeah. Did you try your hemp hearts?
Oh, we love
Yes.
those.
Good,
Oh,
aren't
yeah,
they?
that's
Yeah.
what- yeah, that other thing.
Serious
Yeah,
amount
that
of
was brilliant.
protein in those, so that on salad would be a really good one. You could also put it in soup, I guess. Certainly on your porridge.
Yeah, I put it on salad.
So if you want to buy some, I've bought enough for a bag for everybody. So we'll sort that out at the end. Don't let me forget. And Ian's in charge of money. Okay, so we'll sort that out. I won't run that yet. I want to just, so that was ruts, okay. So go back to your recipes, go on my website as well, because there's loads of other recipes there, and get yourselves inspired. And let's say you're not going to have the things that you've been having up till now, you're going to really change it round. And that will get you out of that plateau, because your geek and your small intestines is getting bored. It's got used now to breaking down what you've been putting in. It was new when you were putting it in, and you lost phenomenal amounts of weight. It's getting bored now. It's too easy for it, okay? So like my sister, you've got to buy a more difficult puzzle, thank you. Yeah, and get it interested again, because then it will start burning more calories. The other one that came up just listening to you was wanting sugar. Okay, has anybody else had a sort of, I need to eat cake and a sugary cup of tea?
That's what happened to me
Yeah.
with that.
I think yours is slightly different though. I think that's a mechanical thing
Okay.
that's going on there, so we need to sort that
Okay.
out. But you're getting few cravings, aren't you? Okay. Now, when the craving hits, you can do several things. Probably your blood sugar levels are dropping. So either the meal that you had 2 or 3 hours before that sugar drop is not keeping you full enough, so you might need to increase your protein levels. That makes sense? Yeah. The other thing so that you could fix up. Look at the meal prior to when you had the sugar level drop, because it's obviously not keeping your blood sugar level stable until the next meal. Another thing you can do to elevate your blood sugar levels is to run up and down the stairs or jump up and down. You need to bring your heart rate up, then your liver will start releasing glucose that it stores into the bloodstream, because now you're exercising, so you need more glucose, so your liver will release it into your blood, and the craving will go away. It really will. Another thing you can do is this, and I'm going to give you one of these. Oh no, I didn't bring them. No one was interested because everyone didn't have any sugar cravings, so I stopped bringing them. Anyway, I can get it to you somehow. I can drop it in at the clinic tomorrow or something. There's these little sachets of something called Solstick Slim, and you dip it into water and you drink it, and it's got a whole load of ingredients in there that balance your blood sugar levels up. So they'll raise them up without actually spiking them, and they're a really good tool to use. So I'll get some of those to you. You can try them out. If you find it works, and you can buy a box, and you can have those ready if you're having a moment. Yeah. Okay.
Have you heard of something called stevia or stevia? Is that good for you, or because
Yeah,
my friend
it's-
in New York is she's a self-confessed sugar addict, and she started having that.
Yes.
Because she has to have something sweet, but it's not.
It doesn't get digested in,
Right,
in
okay.
the gut, so it's actually got no calories in. So it tastes sweet in your mouth, but it doesn't actually absorb into the gut, so it doesn't go into your body, basically. So that's another one. Thank you. That's a good one. Do you remember I was saying I didn't quite want you to do that kind of thing because I'm trying to get you out of your sugar addiction, but if it's really, really bad and running up and down the stairs doesn't work, the Solstick Slim doesn't work, and changing the meal you ate 3 hours before doesn't work, then stevia's a good one. But the trouble is it does taste very sweet. So your taste buds get numbed again, do you remember I was telling you? And then vegetables don't taste.
Hello. I don't know if you remember Molly, my daughter's. She is quite into this. It's kind of food and diet, well not diet, food blogger called Deliciously Ella.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you look into her?
Yes.
I've just bought her book.
Yeah,
Right,
she's
well I tell you
very
what,
good.
Molly made this thing this afternoon that
Yeah.
has been recommended, and it's on a thing so you can actually watch her make it. And she made this thing. They're these little balls that you make, and it's got dates, loads of nuts, linseed oil, all the things that you've recommended. And you put it into a blender and blend it all up, and then form them into little balls.
Right.
And she, Deliciously Ella, suggests to have them in the afternoon because they're full of energy, and obviously there's this bit of sweetness from the dates. Now I know that you don't really want us
Dates?
to have
Right.
dates, do you?
6 dates
I'll shoot you through the roof.
has 36 grams of sugar in them.
Oh God.
They will absolutely rocket your
Well, in
blood
that
sugar
case, I
levels.
won't be having
I
them.
know, I know.
I've been doing that, and I know I shouldn't. But she does say to buy dates to create when you want cake,
And so I've got these Medjool
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what these
dates,
ones are.
and I
in
have
the
one a
thing.
day.
No, don't do that.
Oh.
That might
Almost
be
second
why you're
packet.
still getting sugar.
Well, luckily I didn't
Yeah.
have any because I was
You-
very
you-
It's all
you
coming
better-
out now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's my secret.
No, dates are, have a huge amount of sugar in.
Mm.
Huge amount.
Well,
But
they're
not
not
as bad as
doing
the
very
size of
sweet,
cake
though,
though, surely.
You'll probably find actually that they have as much sugar in as a piece of cake, if not more. Honestly.
Disappointing.
Honestly.
So I bet, and all of those, the other thing that I'm eating is those bars called, I want to
Oh
call them
no,
naked
not
bars.
the bars!
But NAKD.
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know how you
Yeah,
pronounce that.
I thought they were naked actually.
Yeah.
If
so
you,
is that a
if
branding
you, if
thing?
you look at the sugar on those again, I had a look
naked,
at them.
Naked.
They are
And one bar, depends which one you get,
Mm.
but one bar has somewhere between 20 grams of sugar per bar to 30. So if you remember I gave you that little
Mm.
chart
Yes.
to keep in your handbag, if you look at that, 10 grams is a lot,
Mm.
Yeah,
2 grams is a little.
yeah.
So if you're over 10, you're seriously, out there.
So what could you snack on then that was sort of,
You need to go
Not
for
just
your
nuts.
complex carbohydrates and your protein. So apple and cheese, nuts and yogurt, little yogurt, or
Olives and something.
yeah, olives. Yeah, your pear wrapped in Parma
Yeah.
ham, oat cakes with.
I suppose it's
Hummus
easy
on?
because it's something that you don't have to refrigerate, it's something I can just stick in my bag, it doesn't matter if it's not,
Mm.
you
Oat
know.
cakes are quite good to have.
Yeah,
I found oat
oatcakes.
cakes with ginger in Waitrose, but they are so lovely that
You-
two's just not
you-
enough, so I've
Yeah, I
stopped
know.
having those.
Have they got any sugar in as well?
Oh, I don't know.
Check,
Yeah.
check, because as soon
I
as
got
they
a
add
cake
another
that
ingredient,
was- yeah.
I become suspicious.
They are very tasty.
Mm.
Oatcakes
Too
are just
tasty.
okay. I can
Yeah.
have two oatcakes,
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
enough. But
Yeah.
oatcakes and ginger were really lovely.
Yeah.
So maybe.
I think your best bet is
Yeah.
nuts
Yeah.
and an apple, because you can put both of those in your
Pink
bag.
lady apples.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
the
I've
same.
got
They're
those.
really,
They
really
were
sweet.
so lovely.
Yeah,
Really, really
bought those
sweet.
this
Actually,
week.
ridiculously sweet.
that would be your best
Mm.
thing. Or oat cakes and a little pot of hummus. Do you think you can do that?
Yeah, I think it just takes, it's that time at sort of 8:30 trying to get out to work, 3 children off to school, I know that if it involves a fridge, basically it doesn't normally happen,
Yeah.
because it's the whole faff of getting it out of my fridge and into the work fridge means that it's either in the bottom of my handbag forgotten about,
Yes.
whereas those bars I know are easy, but then there's no excuse for me not just grabbing a piece of fruit.
That's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
Piece of fruit and some nuts. I don't know what you'd put them in. Little Tupperware
So I can
container.
cope with the nuts, but only if they've got the odd raisin stroke cranberry.
Or use the apple instead of the raisin stroke cranberry.
Strawberries are getting sweeter. The Dutch
Yeah,
strawberries
yeah.
are doing
Delicious,
them much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
squashy. I'm thinking, what can you
Yeah.
put
Oh.
in a bag? A nice crisp pink lady apple
Yeah.
and some nuts. That's perfect.
Okay.
I have fresh sweet.
No.
Oh no.
Oh, fresh
fresh
ones.
thing.
Fresh
Yeah,
ones,
but
not
not
dried
not
ones.
dried
Yeah, anything
ones.
dried.
Fresh ones I might.
Yeah.
I've got like carrot sticks like in a bag, and then I know it's really easy to and I couldn't do it in the morning because I've got to give Georgia a bottle and all that kind of stuff, and then before you know the hour's gone. But the night before I go to bed, I literally just get a Tupperware, get a big spoon or medium spoon of hummus, put it in, and then grab some carrot sticks and stuff them on top. And I know
That's a good
it's
one.
just
Because
and-
you travel up to London,
yeah,
don't you?
and
You've
then I
got
write a
to do
big
something
note.
easy.
I mean, this sounds really silly. I write a big note by the fridge that says lunch or snacks,
Yeah.
otherwise I forget it.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea.
And then
Because it's the last thing
Yeah, just go. I
it's the
just
thing that drops off the list, and then I'm
Yeah.
faffing around at
yeah,
8:30.
if you're commuting, you've got to get kids ready, whatever age they are. I find that the only way to do it is to do it the night before
Yeah.
you go to bed, which is
Yeah.
the last time you want to do it. But
But
then
I'd
in
agree
the
with
morning,
you.
It's
isn't
all
it? It's
organisation,
starting to-
routine.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the
That's the hard
organising
one,
it,
yeah.
thinking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that give you some good
Yes,
ideas?
I will try this
Yeah?
week to give up the fruit.
No, you will
dried
do
fruit.
it. You will do it. Don't say I will try. That's very unmotivational.
I will.
I will give up the naked bars.
Yeah. And the natural bars? Are
No,
they not
none
the-
of them. I looked at the whole lot just for you, Lindsay. I went into Waitrose and I
I do. I really want
the
to try.
whole lot, and all of them are over 20 grams of sugar per bar.
And they're all just bad.
Thank you.
So if you can't see what the bonding agent is, if you can't see that there's chocolate holding it all together or yogurt holding it all together, it's fat that's holding it together.
Nice.
You've seen them being made,
Yeah.
have you?
So I used to work for Mars, and we used to make tracker, and that tracker is fat held together with fat.
Yeah.
There's less fat in a Mars bar than there is in a tracker bar. The tracker bar is
And yet
tiny.
you consider those.
But
Just
that's
consider them to be a little bit
you
more
can't
healthy.
see what's holding together the different elements of it.
See those
It's
naked
fat.
bars though, I thought, well, it's just the only thing holding it together is the
Yogurt's
squashed
so
fruit.
nice.
Yeah, and
It's all
Yeah.
dried fruit. That's
Yes.
the problem. It's all dried, and when you dry a fruit,
Intensify the sugar.
Yeah, the sugar molecule changes,
Mm.
and it just increases in glucose content.
Years ago, I did Weight Watchers, and say at that time it was like 20 or 21 points a day, and those Eat Natural bars were 7.
Oh, there you go. Yes, it's true. I'm sorry, but it
Yeah.
is.
That's a
Yeah.
third of your
Yeah.
allowance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back to week 1, I think.
It's not just you.
It's not
rubbish.
it's not you
But
at all,
again,
it's the way you
hard.
Again, give it
I
to
think we've all
yourself
got
as
something we've
homework
got
and
to,
set yourself that one task.
Yeah.
That's what
Give
you're
up
going
dried
to
fruit in
tackle
those bars.
this week. Yeah. Just that one task, and you will probably stop. You'll get out of that plateau. Good. Good. Okay. Right. Excellent. Who did the burp test?
Me?
Yes.
Well done. So when did you burp?
Just after 2 minutes.
Okay, so that's about right, isn't it?
Well, I think it was about 1 minute 45 to start with, and then 3 minutes, and then 3 minutes 45.
Okay. Not
So
too
I don't know
bad.
what was going on the first day, but
Not too
yeah,
bad.
about 3 minutes.
I was under a minute.
Ooh, so you've got high blood acidity in your stomach then. So what you need to do then is have a look at the list of ways to reduce that stomach acid. So a small glass of water with your meal, for example. Don't eat spicy food, that's another one. There's a whole list of things. Alex,
I'm low. Big
Are you?
time low.
when did you burp?
Well, the first time I thought I did only a minute afterwards, but evidently it wasn't, because then there was nothing else until about 7 minutes afterwards, and then 8 minutes after that. Second time, nothing.
Oh dear. You as well?
Third
Yeah.
time,
First time, nothing. I kept
Yeah.
Did anybody else? Did you do
It's
it?
Why is it not
burping at all. Absolutely nothing for the whole time. I tried twice, and then
Okay.
thought, well, I'm a failure.
Are you on medication to bring it down? Your stomach?
No,
You're not, okay, okay. Right, so those people, you need to get the sheet out that tells you what to do to increase your
Yeah.
stomach acid. So you mustn't drink water with your meals. You want to add spices to your meals. You do remember that marinating idea I gave you, where you marinate the meat before you eat it?
with acidic stuff like lemon juice and things
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing you can do is there are supplements that you can take. You don't have to take them forever, but the trouble is it gets into a vicious cycle where you don't have enough stomach acid, therefore you don't absorb the nutrients that create stomach acid, like zinc. Therefore you produce less stomach acid, therefore you don't absorb the nutrient that you need, and it goes down in a cycle like this. So if you take supplements, a good quality digestive enzyme aid, what that does is you then start absorbing the nutrients that you need to make the stomach acid, and then you start doing it of your own accord. So there's a really good one called Food Enzymes, which I would have to get for you. But they have all the digestive enzymes that you have in your stomach, in your small intestines, plus a tiny little bit of hydrochloric acid as well, which is the acid in your stomach. I use these all the time, and they are absolutely brilliant. They can make the difference between feeling full and uncomfortable after a meal and feeling fine. Does anyone, the people who didn't burp, experience feeling full up?
no, that's
No.
the contradictory thing. I've much less so than before on this particular.
On this particular
yes,
diet,
with
yeah.
lots of different foods and lots of
Yes.
and altogether much more comfortable. I never feel full up and never feel hungry.
Right.
So I wondered if
Well, it's going to be a delayed reaction. It's going to take a little while for the benefits to start building in and turning into good levels of stomach acid. So you might be okay. Yeah.
I'm wondering if dioxin, the drug that I'm on, would affect. Would that affect it?
What blood? Stomach acid.
No.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, good.
I mean, I might be wrong, but it's not that I'm
Oh,
aware of.
I don't know.
I can't think of a connection
Unless
between
it
your thyroid
ends in
and your stomach.
aerosol, then it won't. So omeprazole, esomeprazole, anything that ends in parazole, that stops, it inhibits the acid generation in your
Oh,
stomach.
okay, great.
Parazol.
SOL, anything that ends in parazole. So the ones that you would be able to buy at the moment, so you can buy Nexium over the counter.
Yeah.
I work for Pfizer, we make it.
Ah.
The one that you get prescribed by the doctor is called omeprazole or Losec, is the generic name for it. And if you're on either of them, it's called a proton pump inhibitor, and it stops you from generating excess.
Oh, right, okay, well, I'm not
stomach
on any of
acid.
those, that's all right.
But yeah,
But those are specifically for reducing stomach acid levels, aren't they?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that parasol is the end of the molecule name, and that's what it is. It stops you from generating. It reduces the amount that you
And is it
generate.
true that it contains aluminium to make the pores?
No, aluminium is in the alkalides, the alkanates. So things like Gaviscon, that has
okay.
aluminium
Oh,
in it,
Right. Thank you.
and it's there as a soothing agent.
And that's
Yeah.
for people that produce excess.
Excess.
So I was
pregnant.
No. So that's what
Well,
I'm saying. I
yeah.
can't think of any
No.
connection between.
Well,
I don't think it's a side effect of
It's
thyroxine.
not strictly
thinking
true,
about it.
actually, because some people who get heartburn, it's because they're not generating enough stomach acid,
Yeah.
and you get reflux. So a lot of
Because
people.
I have had a stomach ulcer
Right.
a few years ago, I got it. So.
Then
that's
you need to
interesting.
do the cabbage juice.
Oh,
I
no,
told
I
you.
wasn't reasoning about that.
It's really
I was
nice.
thinking.
No.
No?
No, you put an apple through the juicer, you put a couple of carrots through the juicer, you put a slice of the
yeah.
hard white cabbage through the juicer, perhaps a bit of ginger. Lovely.
Oh, wow.
Really, honestly, I kid you not, it's really, really nice.
Sorry, and then the zinc and B vitamins. Do you have any are they in this multigenics?
Yeah.
Are they in that? Do you get that from the health food shop?
No, do you remember I gave you all those details for Nutri, the telephone number and
Where did I
the,
put that?
oh gosh, have I still got that?
I've got it here.
Have you?
The Eskimo 3
That's
capsules. So it's Nutri 0800 212 742.
0800, sorry.
0800 212 742. And then you gave a reference number as well.
That's it.
Which
Oh, I did write that down somewhere.
So you need to tell them you're a patient of mine.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, sorry, I've got it
Yeah?
here. Excuse me, sorry. Reference 144115.
Yeah.
That's right.
Eskimo 3 capsules.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. That's Metagenics comes from there.
so that's the zinc and the.
That's got zinc in it and all the B vitamins and a load of other stuff. They are very big though. Be
Will that-
aware.
will food enzymes do it, or is it best?
No.
What would we do
Okay,
on
we're
this
kind
low?
of going off track here a
Sorry.
bit. So if you've got low stomach acid, for a little while it would be a good idea to take this product called Food Enzymes, which has small intestine enzymes plus hydrochloric acid, and it helps you digest your food. And if you need some, talk to Ian at the end, and he will order them for you. Okay. Does that answer those questions?
But
Yeah.
can I just ask one thing? What I'm a bit worried about is that just because I didn't burp for 2 mornings,
Yes.
but I look at the list here of how to increase stomach acid production, which you're
Yes.
suggesting is me,
Yeah.
and I could put a tick that I do all of these, absolutely,
Right.
just about all of them. So I'm wondering if I didn't pile in enough bicarb or You know, it was something very elementary like that, because I wouldn't want to start taking a supplement when actually
You're doing
I'm
all of
pretty
those
okay
things.
with all of those
Yeah.
things as a result of doing this.
Well, maybe
course.
try it again and put a bit
Yes.
more bicarbonate.
Just chuck in a bit more.
soda in. Yes.
I put more the third time because I had very little reaction.
Yes.
And I was looking at a quarter thinking, what's a quarter of a teaspoon? Trying to, because I upped it a bit and I bucked it about 6-7 minutes, so I was still very slow, but at least I did buck, because I think the first time I didn't at all. And if I did, I didn't notice it. So I did up it a bit and it did seem
Maybe
to
I'll
make
have
it
a
a
bit
bit
of
more,
that
but
before I
I was
start.
still
But
low.
the other
I'm
thing
sure.
is, if you are doing all of those things
Yeah.
and you're not getting discomfort after you
Yeah.
eat, then it might be that your body's fine with that,
Yes.
with the amount of acid that it's producing.
Yes.
Everyone is different.
Because I can see all of this, and you know, it's, I can see the point of it. It's all, but it's an awful lot of it is what we've been trying to,
To do anyway.
rectify. That's
Yeah.
right, which I feel fine. So, but I'll do that and just chuck a bit more. I'm
See,
really bad at
see.
measurements as
Yeah,
well.
I mean,
So
Should we
rough
say now
quarter,
we
just
can
half
keep
is
with that,
easier to
but
look at, but a quarter is quite hard to
It
judge,
is pretty
isn't it, really?
stuffed too, so maybe I was kind of balking at it. Okay.
Right, brilliant. So I'm going to rush you on because you've just taken half an hour. I know, it goes so fast, doesn't it? So, we're going to talk today about how to increase your metabolic rate. Okay, this is key, and I'll explain why in a sec. I'm just getting these out first. Thank you. Thank you. Now, just taking on board a lot of what I'm going to tell you today, just that may well get you out of your ruts as well, because your metabolic rate is a little bit like, we talk about, you hear a lot about metabolism, don't you? You know, this diet's going to speed up your metabolism. If you do this exercise, it's going to speed up your metabolism. But what is your metabolism? Well, if you think of your body as a country, your metabolism is like the Chancellor of the Exchequer. It's the parts of you that decide how the glucose, which is coming in, remember that's the final product of carbohydrate breakdown, isn't it? So the metabolism decides how the glucose that's coming into the body, which is your fuel, is going to be expended. So like the Chancellor of the Exchequer decides what they're going to do, what the government is going to do with the money that they bring in from tax, what they're going to spend it on, so your metabolism decides what your body is going to spend its glucose on. And there's three things that it can do with it. It can either spend it, okay, by increasing your energy levels, or it can store it by laying it down as body fat. So that would be the equivalent of, you know, Labour wants to, this is a general exaggeration, but generally speaking, Labour wants to spend more and the Conservatives want to save more, yes, or they want to cut money back. So that's what your metabolism is doing. And the last thing that it does is it expends that energy on repairing and building new cells. So that would be like repairing your roads, repairing your schools, building new hospitals, and so on and so forth. It's crucial. Basically, the body has to do that. If you cut yourself, it's got to heal you, hasn't it? So those are the three things that it can do. And that's what that little diagram on page 1A is all about. Now, obviously, if you're losing weight, want to lose weight, you want to be spending your glucose rather than saving your glucose, yes? So you've got to know what to do in order to encourage your body to spend it rather than save it. So there's certain things that will help with that. So first of all, stress. Stress slows your metabolic rate down. At the beginning, it speeds it up, doesn't it? You get a fright, and whoa, you get this flow of adrenaline, and you're all kind of alive, and you know your muscles are working, and your brain is working. But afterwards, you go into an energy slump, and that's because the body thinks that it's expended a whole load of of energy, and it's got to then start to store again. So that's how stress does it, and we're going to teach you how to help with your stress. If your thyroid's not working properly, your thyroid is your chancellor of the exchequer. We're going to talk a bit more about that. It's the one who decides whether you're going to increase your metabolism or reduce your metabolism. So if it's not working terribly well, then your metabolism will tend to slow down. And I'm going to teach you how to look after your thyroid gland. Poor muscle tone, because muscles burn a lot more energy than flab does. Okay? Muscles are always contracting, expanding, they're moving, whereas flab, bleh, just sits and does nothing. So it's not burning any calories, whereas muscles do. So we're going to talk about that as well. Skipping meals. Now, if you skip meals or you eat nutritionally deficient food, your body will think you're starving. Okay? So it will immediately slow down its spending. You know, if the country goes into recession, yes, and the businesses aren't making so much money and we're not exporting so much, so we're not getting foreign money into the country, what happens is we go into a recession and we have to stop spending. And this is what the body thinks it has to do if you skip a meal or you're eating nutritionally deficient food, because to the body, McDonald's does not constitute food. You know, you can eat as many McDonald's as you like and your body will still think you're starving. So it will slow down your metabolic rate. So you're now eating much more nutritious foods. That's what this course is all about. So your metabolic rate will have gone up, which is why you're all losing, one of the reasons why you're all losing spectacular amounts of weight.
So just a quickie, I don't know if anyone's seen on Facebook today, there was a post about a guy that basically ate, an American guy that ate all of his meals in Wetherspoons for a week.
Right.
And 90% of the time he said he was starving
Yeah.
after each meal.
Yeah.
It just struck me.
That's
Have you seen it?
absolutely true. That
Yeah.
these people who you see who are very overweight, they are starving most of the time. That's why they eat so much.
Just empty food.
And all it
basically.
needs is them to start eating decent food and they won't feel hungry any longer. So those are things that slows your metabolic rate down. So if we turn over the page, how can we speed it up? Well, first of all, you need regular exercise, and you're all doing that now, yes? Good. So you need to keep that up, and we're going to talk about how to refine it today. You need to get plenty of sleep. Sleep's really important for your metabolism. You need to reduce your stress levels, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. And another thing you can do is perform a colon cleanse and a liver cleanse, and I'll talk about that next week. Okay, we're going to do a bit of a deeper cleanse next week. But you can do it also with foods, and the foods that speed up your metabolic rate are the spices. Now, if you have high stomach acidity, obviously these are not going to be something you want to do because they're going to make you produce more stomach acid. But certainly for those people who are producing normal or low amounts of stomach acid, you want to try and get more spices into your food because it speeds up the metabolic rate. Chilies, cayenne pepper, jalapeno peppers, also cinnamon is a really, really good one as well for helping you to control your blood sugar levels. So try and get some spices into your food this week. Another piece of homework. Sorry, I try to only give you 1 or 2, but that would be good. Ginger, that's another one. Whole grains, you're all doing that. Broccoli, that has a bit of properties about it that help to speed up your metabolic rate. Soup. So there you go. Keep going with your soup. It tends to help you speed up your metabolic rate because it stops you from taking excess food in. You get full very quickly, don't you, after soup? And that's a good way of not taking too much food in. Taking too much food in slows down your metabolic rate. Because, why? Why does that slow down your metabolic rate? I will look into that. I don't know off the top of my head. Green tea. Does anyone like green tea? Yeah? A cup of green tea every day? That will seriously help to speed up your metabolic rate. And it's lovely. It's really nice. You can get ones now, can't you, like green tea with mint and green tea with lemon, exactly, to jazz it up a little bit.
Apples and pears, they did some research on a group of women who were eating 2 small apples or pears a day, and they found they lost more weight than the women who didn't, and there's something about apples that speed up your metabolic rate. Also citrus fruit. Omega-3, are you all taking omega-3 now? Or
Some not.
yes? Yeah. It's really a good supplement for everything. Everything, not just weight loss. Your brain, your heart, your muscles, your joints, all of that. So that's a really helpful one. And also foods that contain a lot of calcium. So I think what you can take away from that is increase your spice level, and maybe eat more soup and have a cup of green tea. So those would be 3 things you could do with your food to speed up your metabolic rate. Good. Right. So exercise. Exercise also helps to speed up your metabolic rate. Most of you know that already. But there's ways of making your exercise more efficient by controlling or regulating the way you eat, kind of foods you eat. So there's 3 types of exercise, yes? There's aerobic exercise, which is what I've been encouraging you to do. That burns excess glucose. Okay, it uses up more fuel than you're taking in, and therefore it helps with your weight loss. But there's also toning exercise, isn't there? You know, that's like things like weightlifting, rowing machines. That's a resistance thing, isn't it? Rowing, I believe. That sort of thing builds up your muscles. And as I said, your muscles burn much more calories than flab does. That's your toning. And then you've got the relaxing exercises, things like yoga. Now yoga, I didn't know this, but yoga is quite amazing. It has been proved by various universities and scientific institutions that stretching and relaxing or doing something like yoga, it lowers your stress and anxiety, it steadies your blood sugar levels, and it increases the flow of blood to the fat cells, which means that the fat cells can then release their fat much more efficiently. It's got all sorts of amazing things. It improves your sense of balance, it helps to strengthen your bones, it improves brain function, and so on and so forth. So in an ideal world, when you've got all the time in the world to spend on exercise and so on, you should really be doing your 3 sessions of aerobic exercise a week, which you are all doing, 1 session of toning, and 1 yoga class. Okay, that would be perfect. Now obviously not all of us have the amount of time to do that, but you could still perhaps work towards it. You could perhaps do a little bit of stretching perhaps, or a few yoga movements before you go out for your walk. That would be a little bit of stretching. You could also, maybe when you're doing your walking, you could, okay, this is going to sound weird, but you could take a couple of baked bean tins, you know, and do a little bit of this and a little bit of this, for example, and tone your exercises. Or you could, you know, really go on a proper program with a personal trainer and get all those different things in. Now, if you're going to do that, you know, the ideal world, you're going to do a bit of aerobic, a bit of toning, a bit of yoga, you can eat in order to make those forms of exercise more efficient. So as we know, aerobic exercise needs glucose. Yes, that's the one that's burning energy, isn't it? And glucose is our energy fuel. So if you were going to, for example, when you're going to go and do your swimming, or you're going to go and do your brisk walking, that's your day for it, that would be the day you'd want to eat porridge for breakfast. Whereas if you weren't going to do aerobic exercise, you were going to do toning exercise, muscle building needs protein. It needs a little bit of carbs, but it mostly needs protein. So if you were going to do your toning, you were going to go and do your body pump down at the gym, that would be the day to eat your poached eggs and bacon for breakfast. Do you see where I'm coming from? If you ate your if you ate your porridge for breakfast and then did your toning workshop, your body pump, you would not be burning off as many of those calories as you would if you were doing your aerobic. So you're going to get a few extras hanging around, and remember that the body, what it does with extra calories, it dumps it on your fat cells. So protein is what you want to do if you're going to go and do some toning exercise. And if you're going to go and do some yoga, that's when you need to increase your fats. Because fats, I'm going to have to remind myself of this. Yes, healthy fats, they generate anti-stress hormones, which is great for stress-reducing exercise such as yoga. They feed your brain, your thyroid and your adrenal glands as well. So if you're going to do something which is going to help you relax, which is great for your stress levels, remember stress slows down your metabolic rate, you want to be taking in the fats because that will help you to relax even more when you're doing your yoga. If you ate protein, protein tends to, like a piece of meat, will tend to increase your testosterone levels, right? So you'll be sitting there, you know, like this, absolutely wired. And that really is not what you want to do with yoga. You want to be relaxed. So that would be the day that you would want to perhaps have avocado pear with your lunch, or some smoked salmon, for example, would be a really good lunch to have before your yoga class. Yeah? So do you see how, again, this is all fine-tuning. If you know what food does to you, you can use it to your advantage and get it to work for you rather than against you. Okay? So that gives you a little bit more of an idea of what to do, and I put it in much more detail here on page 3. It tells you what to eat for your cardio days, your aerobic days, what to eat when you're doing your body pump, and what to eat when you're doing your stress-reducing exercising like yoga or Tai Chi, for example. It tells you exactly what kind of, you know, high healthy fats, moderate amounts of complex carbohydrates, moderate protein, and low glycemic index fruit. So it tells you exactly what to do.
What about the time lapse between eating and exercise?
I would say you would do it on a sort of a general day. If you were going to do your body pump, for example, you'd want to eat generally more protein. So it doesn't really matter what the time lapse is.
But you don't want to go and do your body pump just when you've had your lunch.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Time between meals.
Yes, yes. It takes about 3 hours for food to clear your stomach. So really 2 hours is your minimum. You really don't want to exercise immediately after
yoga.
Yoga would be less so. But there's very much this thing in the body where it will either send your blood to your muscles and your brain, or it will send it to your digestive system. Okay? So if you're demanding that it sends it to your muscles and brain, it can't provide your digestion with proper amounts of energy. Okay, good. Excellent. So, there are ways in which you can squeeze in a little bit more exercise or a little bit more calorie burning into your daily life. And I love these things because I love making the absolute most of my time, and I love multitasking. Okay. So, for example, when you stand up, you burn quite a few more calories than when you're sitting down. So you guys are burning less calories than I am, right? So they've proved that if you stand up for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, you'll burn 750 calories a week, which is massive. If you think in a day you're taking in about 1,500 calories,
you're going to burn off half a day's worth of calories in 1 week just by standing up for 3 hours. So what I would suggest is, I don't know, I know some of you work at a desk, yes? And you work at a desk.
Yeah.
And you, yes. You're
I'm on
more
my feet
on your
usually
feet, aren't you? You're
a little bit of everything.
yes.
But as a teacher, which as you
Yeah,
did,
I'm
you're
on my feet, I don't
All
just
the
sit
time.
all day,
All
just
the
very
time,
much.
yes. You're on your feet all day, aren't you? You're probably sitting a lot, aren't you, Amy? Yes. And Alice,
Oh,
Is it
I'm on
both?
my feet.
You're on your
Yeah, I
feet.
never sit down, no.
okay. Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
But for those people who sit most of the time, you would try to stand up to do things that you would normally sit down for. So certainly taking phone calls if you're at an office, if you've got a cordless phone, walk up and down. Or just stand up and take your phone call. Every time you take a phone call, stand up. It won't look too weird, will it, doing that? Will it? Will it? No? No,
If
you
I
could
pick
just
up my
stand
mobile
up.
and I'll go to a different place.
Yeah, and walk backwards and forwards, and you'll be burning off calories. Another thing you can do, and this might look weird in your office, I don't know kind of what people are like, but you can buy these computer stands that enable you to stand up at your computer rather than sit down. And I tell you, it is so much more comfortable than sitting down. I went through a phase, I had this problem with my hip. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
And I had to stand up to do my reflexology. But most of this course was written standing up. I had this little coffee table and I put it on the table because I couldn't sit down. That's what I didn't. I could not sit down. For 6 months, I couldn't sit down. Ian had to drive me to work with me lying on my side on the back of in the car seat. It was just too painful to sit down. So I stood up and I typed most of this course standing up. It's so comfortable. It really is. You don't get tired feet for it, amazingly enough. You just feel really good. As long as your posture's good and everything's at the right height and you're not stooping like this, it's really, really comfortable. And they've also proved that standing up helps to balance your blood sugar levels much more than sitting down, and they're believing now that the rise in diabetes that's going on is partially due to the fact that we all sit down for most of our day, and that makes our blood sugar levels tend to be less stable than standing up. So stand up, okay, when you're working. When you're sitting, there are other things you can do. So, for example, you could invest in one of these. This is not expensive. I bought this when I was trying to get over my hip problem. This is called a wobble cushion. And when you sit on it, you have to balance. Have a go. I'll pass it round. You can each have a little go on it. Sit up properly. That's better.
Sit up properly. Sound like my mother. Stage one.
So can you feel what's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Moving around.
You're moving around.
Every movement that I make changes the position I'm sitting in.
Exactly.
Feeling
And you're having
relaxed.
to balance the whole time as well. So you're using
That's
a
so
lot more
cool.
muscles, your core muscles, to stay in balance.
Is that like sitting on one of those balls?
Yeah,
Is that like, yeah.
yeah, exactly
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, pass it along, and each of you have a little go, because that's certainly something that you could have at your office, and do a little bit every day on it.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
It's nice.
You do have
It
to-
helps your posture
To
as
really
well.
pull your core in, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't you have to sit for quite some time? You know, which is contrary to
Yes, they're saying,
standing.
it says here, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, burns 240 calories. Well, you can build up to it slowly. You get seriously stiff abdominal muscles.
So it's good exercise.
It's very good exercise. Another one that I brought in for you is this one. This is a pedal machine. Right, let's start at the back with this. Have you got space? Now you can do this while you're watching the telly. Your stomach muscles.
you're going to be well fun. What I would suggest you do is rather than lifting them like that, do them like Heather's doing, where you lift them up from your core rather than from your buttock muscles. Okay, are you ready? So here we go, 60 seconds. So you're holding your stomach muscles in and lifting your feet very slightly off the floor. Check. Very good. Keep going, make certain they're really nice and tight. You've done 15. Keep them in. Do breathe though at the same time. Make certain that you breathe.
Can we talk at the same time?
You can talk. You're nearly there now. 20 more seconds. Keep your tummy muscles pulled in. Yeah, so you're going to be toning your thigh muscles now. So you might need, if you can't do 60 seconds, you might need to start with 30 and then build up gradually. But 60 is what you're aiming for. What they suggest you do is to do this every half an hour. So you're sitting at your desk and you set half-hour slots on your phone. Yes. It's quite something, isn't it?
You got an extra 15 seconds out of us then.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. I was just making you do a little bit extra. So set your phone every half an hour. The lever goes up. Pull in your stomach muscles and lift your feet off the floor. Yet another one you can do. We're going to do this now as well. I can't get this back on. When you get up from your chair, I want you to put your bits and pieces down. Bring this out of the way.
You can tighten or loosen things anti-clockwise.
Yeah, it's quite loose at the moment, isn't it?
Is it? It still works though, if you just do it regularly, because then you can keep on for a long time.
So I want you to plant your feet on the floor.
Are we standing up?
About shoulder width apart. Okay. Put those down. So what you're going to do now is get off the chair without pushing yourself up from your arms. So you're just going to use your thigh muscles. Okay, just try it. Just get up. How does that feel? A bit more than you would normally do by pushing. Sit down. When you get up, make certain that your spine is still straight. So you've got to bend forward, haven't you? So you're sitting like this, your head's going in that direction, and you're getting up like that. Not like that. Yeah? Try it once more. Very good. And then if you really want to push it, you can stand up, sit down, 5 times. So let's do that now. So we're sitting down. Okay, so here we go. 1. And sit down. 2. And sit down. 3. And sit down. 4. And sit down. 5. And sit down. Well done. How's that feel? You start to feel, you're using your thigh muscles, you're using your bum muscles, and you're using your core muscles. You could do that anywhere. So squeeze these little bits in, really take them on board and try them out, get them into your day, because again, it's burning calories and it's toning muscles and it's not really using up any time. Not like having to go down the gym for 2 hours. Okay? Good. Excellent. So that's exercise. Let's talk about your thyroid now. So the thyroid is a little butterfly-shaped gland in your throat here. It's got 2 lobes, the right one and the left one. And this is the seat of your metabolism. This really is the big guy. This is the chancellor of the exchequer of your body, because it regulates, it decides basically whether you're going to burn calories or whether you're going to store calories, because it has 2 sets of hormones. One that acts like an accelerator, this is T3, T4, and one that acts like a brake, which is reverse T3. Is that right? Yeah, reverse T3. So you have an accelerator and it has a brake. So depending on what is needed from the body, it will either increase the flow of the accelerator hormones or it will increase the flow of the brake hormones. Now obviously we want it to keep its foot on the accelerator pedal. We don't want it to start braking. But if your thyroid becomes unhealthy, what happens is that the T3, T4, the accelerator hormones start to be produced in fewer quantities. One of the things that's very important for the production of this accelerator hormones, T3 and T4, is iodine, which is actually a mineral that you get in your food. So I'm going to teach you which foods have a lot of iodine in, which ones tend to stop the extraction of iodine by the thyroid. But before that, I've got another little home test for you to do. You can test your own thyroid. We don't need doctors, do we? We just need bicarb soda and burping and body temperature test. Because what you're going to do is you're going to get a thermometer, and 3 mornings in a row, before you do anything, you take your temperature. It's best to take it under your arm. I'm not quite certain why, but that seems to be the common consensus. But if you don't have one of the old-fashioned mercury ones, then it's fine to use the ear ones or the oral ones. You take your temperature 3 mornings in a row. Now, your temperature should be between 36.6 and 36.8 degrees centigrade. That is normal temperature. If you find that your body temperature is always slightly low, so slightly below the 36.6, 3 consecutive days, it's more than likely that your thyroid is a bit low. It doesn't mean that you're going to have to go off to the doctor and get some medication for it. It just means it's not functioning particularly well. And it's a great way of keeping your whole body in tip-top condition, because if you're finding that your thyroid function is reducing, you can then do things about it to bring it back up to proper functioning level. So again, there's fabulous supplements for it, but before we go into supplements, let's look at what the foods do, because again, food affects everything. Can you get this now? I mean, they say you are what you eat. Well, that is so true in so many different ways, but it also means if you've got the knowledge, if you've got the tools, which is what I'm giving you, you can be your own doctor for these small little fluctuations in imbalance and stop yourself from getting into serious imbalance. So that's a little test I'd like you to do with homework. So that's about your 4th thing to do for homework. And let's all see what your thyroid's doing. You're slightly different because you already know, okay?
I haven't got one.
Exactly.
That's what that means.
So there are certain... Yeah.
Do we need to take note of this menstrual thing?
Yes, you do. Yes.
Okay,
if
so
you're a
if it's
woman,
not our-
you need to take your temperature on day 2 to 3 of the menstrual flow, of the menstrual cycle, of your period. Day 2 to 3 of your period to get an accurate measurement. Because periods affect your body temperature. Because if you do it when you're ovulating, your temperature goes up, so you'll get a false reading. So you need to do it when you're having your period, which is kind of neutral, a neutral band. Okay, so let's say you establish whether your thyroid is working or not. Now, if you find that it's slightly low, there are things you can do. And there's certain foods that hinder the body's utilization of iodine. And this is quite shocking. They're called goitrogens. And they are things like kale, cabbage, peanuts, soya products, cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, spinach, pine nuts, millet, and turnips. All of those foods contain properties that can hinder the body's utilization of iodine, which is what you need to make T3 and T4, which are your accelerator hormones. Now don't start panicking at this moment, okay? Because then we go, but I eat broccoli every day. Well, that's fine if your thyroid's fine. But you do your little home test and you find your thyroid's a little bit low, it perhaps wouldn't be such a good idea to eat broccoli every single day. And raw is worse than cooked. So if you're cooking, you're steaming your broccoli, you're already reducing the amount of thyroid and iodine hindering substances you're taking in. But what I would say is if your thyroid is a little bit low, try to not eat the sort of the green leafy vegetables quite so much and go for more things like peas, runner beans, courgettes, fennel, for example, those type of vegetables rather than kale and broccoli and spinach. Another thing that can hinder or displace the iodine in the body is fluoride.
Ask you, hypothyroidism is
low.
low.
Yes.
Yeah, because I had hyper.
Ah, yes, you probably
I had
would done if
Graves'
they
disease,
removed
yeah,
it.
which is that's
Yes.
still other way. And my nurse said definitely told me that it was, she believed over the years it's stress
Yes. Yeah.
causes it.
Yeah. I would believe that.
Causes the trigger for that. I don't know if that's the same with the lower one, but I don't know.
Well, because stress plays such a big part in metabolism, if you're continuously making demands of the thyroid to change, you know, out of accelerator mode to brake mode, accelerator, you just wear it out basically. It's the same with the pancreas. If you keep spiking your blood sugar levels and requiring it to release insulin and constantly try and balance, you'll wear it out basically. So I would say it's involved in both of those things. So let's just go back to fluoride. I don't know if you remember, was it in the 1970s?
Yeah, it's all
that
in
the
water,
government
yeah.
decided they were going to put fluoride in the water. Now there's also a lot of fluoride in tea, normal tea. Now we are a great tea drinking nation, so to then stick a load of fluoride into the water possibly wasn't the best idea. Okay, it's supposed to be good for our teeth, but a generation of children then came out who had blotchy teeth. Did you know that? If you
Yeah.
have too much fluoride, you end up with blotchy teeth. I used to teach the flute, so I was always looking at children's teeth, and they all had these well, not all of them, but some of them had blotchy teeth, and I didn't know why. Now I do, because I wasn't doing this then. So yeah, I can certainly verify that. So again, you'll filter your water, and that filters out fluoride. Caffeine also hinders the intake of the uptake of iodine, but you've all got rid of your caffeine, well, most of it now, haven't you? Yep. Good. Phthalates, these are the BPAs, remember the bothersome plastic additives in the plastic bottles? They're also in pesticides as well. Quite a lot of them are in tap water and cosmetics as well. We're going to talk about cosmetics next week. So that's something that we need. Stop wearing mascara.
I've been trying to give it up for years.
Oh, I know. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's also, that's the sort of bad news, all right? Those things, the caffeine, the fluoride, the kale and so on, and the phthalates suppress the thyroid. But there are things that can actively help to stimulate it. These are foods that contain a lot of iodine. So these are, and this is on page 4b, seaweed. They are the queen of thyroid-containing foods, and I'm going to teach you how to cook with seaweed in a minute. Seaweed, egg yolks, garlic, watercress, mushrooms, seafood, radishes, brewer's yeast, not in the wine form, in the yeast extract form, the Marmite form, and wheat germ, which is the brown bit in brown bread.
Brewer's yeast is wonderful for mouth ulcers.
Sorry?
Really good for mouth ulcers, brewer's yeast.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I
What, you
didn't
put it
know
on
that.
them, do you?
No, you take brewer's yeast tablets
Oh,
from the
when
health
you've
food
got-
shop, yeah, and it clears the mouth ulcers.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have checked that
That's it. Well,
Because
that's
nutrition,
interesting
I
because
don't know if you've noticed
mouth
it,
ulcers
but
tends to be a zinc deficiency, so maybe there's a lot of zinc in boozy and so much research.
it's always worked for me anyway. I just,
Mm.
if I get the mouth ulcer coming on, I just down the brew these tablets and it's gone.
Oh, there you go.
Just for anyone
So, yeah.
interested in it.
Yeah, so it's good. So if you find that your temperature is registering a little bit low when you do your temperature test, these would be the foods that you'd want to start bringing more of into your diet. So rather than making spinach soup, you'd make watercress soup, for example. Seaweed. Now seaweed is in the Herbamare. Are you using that? Do you remember I talked to you about that?
Yes.
Yeah, at the beginning, you remember when I was giving you the ideas for the, how do I call it? The salad with everything in it. What am I called it now?
Royal variety.
Thank you, the Royal Variety salad.
Is it the salt?
Yes, the Herbamare sauce.
Kim, where do you find that?
Health food shop.
Oh, I see, it's not in Tesco.
I haven't seen it in Tesco's, no. I think they might have it in Waitrose, but certainly the health food shop.
Oh, they definitely have it downstairs. I saw it.
Downstairs?
I mean-
In Tesco's?
No, sorry, I meant not
Down the
downstairs.
road.
In there.
Next door?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do indeed. Herbamare. That's like sea salt with herbs in. Herbamare. Like that? Yes. And that's got seaweed in it, with a little bit of kelp in it. So that would be a good thing for you to use, a good way of getting seaweed in. Sushi, you know the green bit around the outside of sushi, that's nori, that's seaweed, very high in iodine. There's a very low rate of thyroid problems in Japan, where they eat a lot of seaweed. So, for food adventures this week, if you're brave, you can try to cook with seaweed. Okay, you get it from the health food shop, dried. So there's various different types. Arame, kombu, wakame, nori, hijiki. I was really into this at one stage. I used to follow a macrobiotic diet and they eat a lot of seaweed. And it's really tasty. It really is lovely. Oh, and by the way, that stuff you get in Chinese restaurants that's called seaweed, that is not seaweed.
It's cabbage.
It's cabbage.
Isn't it?
Exactly
Deep
so.
fried cabbage with
Yeah.
probably something sprinkled on it. What is it that they sprinkle? Is it crab?
Salted.
Dried crab or something?
Monosodium glutamate.
Oh God,
I'm making
I
it up.
had I used to have an allergy to that. It used to be
Yeah.
it's called Klutz. Was it Klutz disease?
Yeah.
I used to pass out in Chinese restaurants all the time. I'd just go.
A lot of people
Yeah.
are tolerant to MSG.
Yeah, I've managed to. I don't get it now,
It's
but all
horrible
the
stuff.
time.
It's really horrible stuff. Yeah. Very nasty stuff.
Is it the same seaweed that we have in Wales on the beaches that we
Yes.
collect?
What do they call it?
No, not samphire. Samphire is that. Well, it's, I don't know. It's a form of. That's a form of a vegetables grown in the sea. It's like.
That's right.
But the seaweeds are collected in islands and stuff, and you see people collecting
Is
them
that
and
what you
dry them.
collect?
Yes, and
Like-
it's quite different from this. It looks different. It's a big,
Wide.
Yes, it's big wide
Big.
leaves, and you see it floating, and you
Brown?
collect it, and then when you cook
Yeah.
it, it becomes like a heavy, moist pat of, and it's delicious. But there bears no resemblance to this sort of seaweed, which is fine, isn't it? Rather.
Nori is, but
Uh-huh.
hijiki is a little bit like the one you're talking about,
Okay.
but on a sort of miniature scale. But it's also got the succulent, is that the right word for it?
Oh, yes, I know.
Sort of
Yes,
leaves,
yes, that's
you know,
right.
they contain a lot of water,
That's
don't
it.
they?
But it's dried, presumably.
It's dried
So
when you buy it,
yeah.
but when you put it in
you
your...
soak it, and then it
I don't know if I even used to soak it, you just add a lot of water.
Like
So
dried
for
mushrooms.
example,
becomes- Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's the hijiki rice salad, I think that's the one. You're making... Oh no, it does say to soak it. It does say to soak it, so you're right. Yeah, you're right. And then you add it to the rice. And it does smell a bit like the seaside when you're cooking it. It does have that sort of seaside taste. I know Ian banned it from the house eventually. The whole house used to stink of the seaside. But it is very
It's a
delicious.
nice smell.
Yes, and very, very nutritious.
So I would actually recommend the hijiki rice salad as your first adventure into seaweed cooking. If that's if you want to do it. Good. Okay. Right, how are we doing for time? Not bad. Okay. Let's put everything down now. We're going to just talk a little bit about stress. And I'm going to teach you a lovely little hypnosis technique or self-hypnosis technique for reducing your stress levels. Okay. So, what I want you to do is close your eyes. We're going to do a visualization once more. And take a few deep breaths. And just calm yourself down. You've taken a lot of information in. And now you can just let it all go. And just relax. And what I want you to do is I want you to remember a time when you felt really, really calm. You felt at peace and you felt in control. And if you can't think of a time when you felt like this, then make it up. Imagine maybe that you're on a Caribbean island with your own personal servant. You don't have to cook. You don't have any kids to look after. The temperature is absolutely perfect and you feel totally at peace and relaxed. And I want you to keep running through this experience in your mind when you felt at peace and when you felt in control. And I want you to make the colours brighter and richer. And I want you to remember or hear what you were hearing at that time. And I want you to feel how good it felt. Maybe remember your body sensations that you had when you were completely at peace and relaxed. How did your muscles feel? How did your face feel? And when you've got those feelings, those wonderful feelings and that wonderful picture as clear as you possibly can, and if you can't visualise, don't worry, then just focus on the sounds and the feeling. But when you've got it really, really clear, I want you to squeeze the thumb and the middle finger of your right hand together. So what you're doing now is you're associating this particular pressure in this particular place with this particular emotion. You're making a physical association. And while you've got your thumb and your middle finger pressed together, I want you to run through the memories several times, just feeling that lovely sense of peace. Just keep running through the memory, locking it in. So, can you nod your head if you've got that room clear now?
Sharon? You got it. And Carol?
No.
Super. Now I want you to unsqueeze your fingers. And I want you to let that situation go that you've just been experiencing in your mind. This time I want you to think about a situation in the past that you found mildly stressful. Not very stressful, just mildly stressful. So just nod your head when you've got an example for yourself. You got something great? Good. Right, now what I want you to do is once again squeeze your thumb and your middle finger together while you're still remembering that mildly stressful situation. And I want you to feel that calm feeling spreading through your body. That wonderful calm feeling that you programmed into that pressure is just flooding through your body now. And I want you to imagine taking that lovely calm feeling into that slightly stressful situation. And imagine everything going perfectly. Exactly the way you'd want it to. So you're now in control. You're calm. Whatever's happening, you're calm. You're in control. Your mind is clear. You know exactly what to do. And in that new, calmer version of this slightly stressful situation, I want you to see what you'd see. See the other one person smiling, for example. Hear what you'd hear. Maybe different words to the ones that they shouted at you. And feel how it would feel to feel so calm and so controlled and so clear-headed in that situation that you used to find slightly stressful. When you've got it and you've been through it a few times, just nod for me. I want you to imagine a situation that you really did find very stressful. We're ramping it up a little bit now. Something that really stressed you out, really frightened you. And when you've got it, once again, I want you to squeeze your fingers together, thumb and the middle finger of your right hand, and once again feel the calm feeling coming over you. And imagine the situation now as if you're calm in it. It's going exactly the way you want it to do. You're in control. You feel calm, you know exactly what to do, and the outcome is a good one. It's a positive, calm, controlled one. And once again, see what you'd see as that experience is happening. And hear what you'd hear. And feel what you'd feel.
got that? Okay, now you can unsqueeze your fingers and open your eyes. Now what you've done there is you've created an anchor, what hypnotists call an anchor. This is what the stage hypnotists do. How they can hypnotize someone so easily is all they do is they touch the person in a very subtle way when they mention a certain word. What they've done is they've anchored that word into their body. And then if you know how to do it, all you have to do is touch that person in that place, and that will trigger whatever that emotion or that action or whatever it was that you programmed into it. The sports people use it all the time. In the Olympics, there was Greg Rutherford, do you remember him? The long jump guy who won. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when he was going to do a jump, he'd do this. Did you ever notice that? He'd do this with his hand, like that. Now that's his anchor. He's anchored into him, that movement. Every time he did a brilliant jump, he would anchor that in. So all he has to do is that, and he's in brilliant jump mode. So you can do it too, to anchor in calm. And you can keep working on that. Obviously we've just done it through imagination, but when you find yourself nice and calm, let's say you're in bed at night and you've just really got into a nice relaxed state, just do this. And keep programming, keep investing calm experiences into this. And then when you start to find yourself getting stressed, you're going into your exams, right? You do this, okay? And what you can do, specifically because you've got a specific thing that's going to happen, is when you're going to, let's say, do your first exam, imagine it happening, imagine yourself walking in, you're completely calm, your head's completely clear, you've got all that information absolutely at your fingertips, yes? And then you do this. And then when you walk into the exam, just do that, and you'll be there. Okay? Brilliant. Okay, so you've all got lots of things to think about. I want you to take your temperature for your thyroid. And if you've got a reading and you know already what's going on with your thyroid and you find it's a little bit low, adjust your eating slightly. Break your ruts, yeah, get rid of the snack bars. Visualize if you're going to be in a tricky eating situation. And if you find that your stomach acid, if you found your stomach acid is low and you want to try these food enzymes, then talk to Ian well as we go out. Okay? Or if you want hemp hearts,
Oh yeah.
they're here. Who'd like some hemp hearts? Yes, please. Hemp hearts?
Is this just for sprinkling
Yeah.
onto what? Muesli?
Yeah. You could put it in your homemade
£10.
muesli. Oh yes, they're £10.
£10.
Yeah.
There we go.
And they last quite a while.
So you could just mix it into the...
Muesli
Yeah.
or drink it up in porridge.
These are furniture, aren't
Okay.
they?
Yeah. Yeah. You can also, it's got protein in, so if you put it on a salad, that will count as protein. You could put them on in your soup, for example.
How do they go with those flax stones, the ones that I'm having regularly?
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord,
you can add it in.
around about £20.
You can reduce
I,
the
Hannah,
seeds
Hannah was
and
really,
use that
and
as
maybe
part
just
of
send
your
it.
whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you better check with her. I didn't do that one.
And I need to pay you for the shake as well.
Oh yes.
30, wasn't it, with the container? I think it was, I checked my email and I know it's a 35 and then